So you're expecting a baby. And if the thought of actually giving birth has you feeling a little, okay, maybe a lot of anxiety, I want you to know you are so not alone. It's a super common feeling, and in this explainer, we're going to walk through a simple framework that can help turn that fear into some real solid confidence.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. For so many of us, it's not just nerves, it's real fear. You've heard the stories, you've seen the movies, and the idea of it happening to you can feel just huge and overwhelming. And that feeling, it's completely valid. But it absolutely does not have to be your whole story. And look, there's a big reason why preparing yourself is so critical right now. The United States recently got a D+ grade for maternal and infant care. A D+. I mean, seriously, when the system itself is struggling that much, it becomes absolutely essential for you to be your own best advocate, armed with a real plan. Okay, so where is all this fear coming from? You think it's because you don't have enough information, right? But it's actually the exact opposite. You're drowning in information, but you don't have the right context to make any of it feel helpful.
Just think about it for a second. The moment you tell people you're pregnant, bam, the floodgates just swing wide open. You've got advice, opinions, and stories coming at you from every single direction. There is definitely no shortage of information out there.
Right, and let's talk about where this wisdom comes from. It's a mixed bag. You've got your mom's stories, which are sweet, but from a totally different time, then your cousin, who can only seem to remember the scariest parts of her birth. Your doctor is, rightly focused on keeping you and the baby medically safe, but that doesn't always cover the emotional stuff. And then there's the black hole of Dr. Google, which is pretty much a one-way ticket to an anxiety spiral at 2 a.m. And this is where we have to make a really key distinction. On one side, you have information overload. That's what causes the anxiety, the overwhelm, that feeling of, I can't do this. But on the other side, you have actionable knowledge. This is reliable, contextualized guidance that actually builds your confidence. And our goal here is to get you from that first column over to the second. So how do we do that? How do we turn all that noise into real, actionable knowledge? Well, there's a really clear 3-part framework that's basically the perfect antidote to all that fear and overwhelm. The solution isn't to try and memorize every single thing that could possibly happen. Nope. It's about focusing on 3 simple pillars. First, know what's actually happening in your body. Second, know what to do about it. And third, and this is crucial, build that confidence by practicing before labor starts. This is what makes the whole thing feel manageable instead of terrifying. Let's start with number 1. Know what's happening. I'm talking about the basics. Like, what even is a contraction? What are the different stages of labor going to feel like? And how do you know what's normal versus what's maybe a sign to call your doctor? Just understanding this stuff takes away so much of the scary mystery. Okay, next up. It's not enough to just know what's going on. You have to know what to do about it. This is the practical hands-on part. This is where you actually learn skills like breathing techniques that help you work with your body instead of fighting it, or different positions that can ease pain. Think of these as the tools in your labor toolkit. And that brings us to practice. You wouldn't learn to swim for the first time while the boat is sinking, right? It's the same idea here. You can't really learn a new breathing technique in the middle of a really intense contraction. You have to practice these skills beforehand, over and over, until they feel totally automatic, like real muscle memory. So that's the big idea. But I want to give you something you can do right now to turn this from theory into practice. Here's a super powerful 2-step exercise you can literally do tonight to start feeling less anxious. Okay, step 1, get specific. Don't just say you're scared of labor. Write down exactly what you're afraid of. I'm scared of tearing. I'm scared I'll get overwhelmed and just freeze up. Then, for each one, ask yourself that magic question. Okay, what would I do if that happened? And then you actually make a little plan for it. There's a great saying that explains why this works so well. General anxiety is like trying to fight fog. It's everywhere, it's shapeless, you can't get a grip on it. But the second you name your specific fear, you turn that fog into a definite thought, a concrete problem. And a concrete problem can have a concrete solution. Suddenly, you've taken your power back. So, does all this prep work guarantee you'll have the exact birth you imagined? Of course not. But that's not even the point. Let me tell you a quick story that shows what the true power of this kind of preparation really is.
Okay, so there was this mom. She did everything right. She took the classes, she practiced, she had her plan, and she was really hoping for a very natural birth. And all signs were pointing to that being a totally achievable goal for her. But, as we know, birth can be unpredictable. And late in her labor, a complication came up. And for her own health, the safest and best decision was an emergency C-section. Pretty much the one thing she had really hoped to avoid.
Now here's the wild part. Later, when she talked about her birth, she didn't say it was traumatic or a failure. She described it as great and positive. So, how is that even possible?
It's possible because her preparation wasn't just for her perfect plan A. She had also prepared for the unexpected. She knew what a C-section was, what to expect, what her options were. So when things had to change, she wasn't just a passenger getting swept along. She was an informed, active participant in the decision. She felt in control, even when the situation was out of her control. And that right there is the whole point.
There's a quote that just nails this idea perfectly. It's about a total shift in your mindset. You go from feeling like birth is this thing that's just going to happen to you to feeling like this incredible experience is happening through you. You're at the helm.
In the end, preparation is what gives you the pen. You can't control every single plot twist, but you can decide how you navigate them. You get to be an author of your own story, not just a character in someone else's. So the only question left to ask is, how are you going to write yours?